I'm Chris Bryant, CCIE number 12933, and welcome to today's Cisco certification video, where today we're going to discuss a couple of differences between TCP and UDP and also address a couple of common questions that students have when they first start studying the differences between TCP and UDP. Certainly these are questions that I had, and we're going to clear those up for you today. When you first begin studying TCP versus UDP, if you will, the differences between the two, you see all these great TCP features. We've got a three-way handshake, we've got windowing, we've got sequence numbering, we've got error detection and recovery, and these are great features, but they're strictly TCP features. UDP does not offer any of these. And again, when I first started studying, two questions came to my mind. First off, why not? Why doesn't UDP offer these features? And secondly, if TCP is so great and it has all these great features, why do we use UDP for anything? A look at the headers, the TCP header versus the UDP header, will help clear this up for you. Let me bring the TCP header up here, and you're not going to be able to see every single field in this diagram, but the key is to note how large the header is. Because yes, we've got a source port and a destination port, and remember, at this layer of the OSI model, we're not dealing with IP addresses, we're dealing with port numbers. But then we've got a sequence number, we've got an acknowledgement number, we've got a window, and we've also got some other fields here much smaller, the acknowledgement bit, the send bit, the finish bit. So there's a lot going on here in the TCP header. In the UDP header, not so much. We've got a source port, we've got a destination port, we've got a checksum. Those are the three fields that TCP and UDP headers have in common. But after that, as you can see, the differences are huge. And actually, so is that TCP header in comparison with the UDP header. That may be part of the reason why we use UDP. Now you'll notice that UDP can't perform the TCP features we talked about earlier because literally UDP cannot offer them. There is no sequence number field. There is no ACK field. There's no ACK bit. There's no send bit. There's no window field. So it can't do these things. And again, the TCP and UDP headers have three values in common, as we saw: the source port, the destination port, and the checksum. Now, I'm fond of saying that everything we do in networking has a cost. And I don't mean a financial cost, I mean a cost in processing time, in processor power. That's why we don't go take a CCNA course or CCNP course and then go back to work and put all the things we learned into operation on the network. Because there's always some overhead involved. And that's really the one word that sums up the difference here between TCP and UDP and answers the question, why do we use UDP in the first place? Because of the overhead. The TCP header is much larger than the UDP header, and over time that overhead adds up. So that's UDP's advantage over TCP, is that its header is much smaller than TCP's. As I mentioned a moment ago, here's a similarity between the two. Both TCP and UDP headers carry port numbers. Remember, we're not dealing with IP addresses in these headers. We have port numbers. And these port numbers are a very important part of network communications. There are also some well-known port numbers that you will need to know for both your CCENT and CCNA exams, and believe me, you need to know them for all your exams. They really should become second nature to you as you progress through your studies, and they will. I know at first, and just giving you a real-world tip here, if you're just getting started with your studies and you look at this huge list of port numbers, you go, oh, how am I going to remember these? But as you work with them, and you'll work with them in access lists, you'll work with them in a lot of different Cisco situations, both in the exam room and in the real world, and they do truly become second nature to you. So hang in there on the port numbers. I know they're a little tough to get all those down at first, but trust me, for your CCENT and your CCNA exams, you've got to know those port numbers. And you need to know them for production work as well. This concludes our look at TCP and UDP. I do have some more articles and videos for you here on YouTube. And if you're already at the website or not there, I invite you to come out and visit the tutorials page, where I've got over 250 free Cisco certification tutorials just waiting for you. I'm Chris Bryant, CCIE number 12933, and I'll see you at the website.